Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. In the last session, we discussed about the data stream, how to take sample from a data stream. So there are various approaches available for taking the sample of the data stream. Now, in this session, we'll discuss about the filtering stream. So, few part of the filtering stream we have already covered, but we'll take a brief summary of this session, and they'll continue with the filtering stream. So, why do you require to filtering this one? Because when we are dealing with the data stream, which is generated from various sources, for example, whether is a music streaming services or video streaming services or video conferencing or we can say microblogging Twitter websites. So these all sources are providing a continuous stream of data. Now we need to analyze some information from these data stream. So actually we are applying the data analytics on the data stream. So for that we need to be make sure that whatever the data stream we are receiving, we have to apply on those data stream, and it should be done instantly so that we are getting the output in a without any delay, because if we are having any delay while producing the output, that is of no use to the customer. So basically what we are trying to do, for example, suppose we are having a public subscription system and there are a lot of users are uh, subscribe a news website. Now the news website is providing a way, providing a set of recommended articles to each different individual users. Now, if you are working as a data analytics team for the news website, then you will find out that news website is collecting the news articles from the various sources. Now they have to combine those articles, and these articles will be filtered in a real time and will be distributed to the individual subscriber. So based on the different subscriber, their requirement will be different. Their uh, pattern, their uh, expectation will be different. So based on these factors, we can filter out the those news articles which is related to individual users. So let us discuss about what are the uh, applicable filtering stream algorithms available to perform the filtering on the data stream. So basically, we have to select the set of element with property f from given stream. So we are, if we talk about the basic of filtering streams, we are finding out a part of the stream or a portion of the stream which is having a property f. So these property f's can be derived from the filtering properties. So suppose a user has subscribed for some specific kind of news. So these property as can represent those kind of news, and the given string will represent the all kind of news. Each element of data stream is a tuple. So you can find out that when you are dealing with the stream, you are dealing with a lot of information. These information can include the users who is generating the content, query which is being requested by the user, and the time, which is the current time. And we need to process million of filters on the same stream. So sometimes you have to apply various filters on the same stream so that you can get a required amount of information from that particular stream. So we it will not be done by the single filters. So we have to apply multiple filters, and this will create a memory problem because as we are working on a computing system which has a limited memory and limited processing capability, and to process a data stream which is an infinite of size, which can be infinite size, it is a very big problem. So when we are developing a filtering mechanism for the data stream, we have to be very much careful about the memory constraint. So we had discussed two problems. One is an email spam filtering and one is a public subscribe system. So email spam filtering, you have to filter out those email which is not genuine. So you have to find out the properties of non-genuine email, and based on those properties, you can filter out the uh, email which is as a considered as a spam. Next example is a publish subscribe system. So in a publish subscribe system, as we have discussed, that if you have subscribed a news website and there are a lot of users who are currently subscribed, now the task of the data analytics team in the news website is that they have to filter out the content which is related to the every user's interest, and they have to distribute these real-time data stream to the users based on their preferences and based on their interest and so on. So we had discussed a small solution for that, where we have discussed that given a set of key S, so here the set of key S is a sample, or we can say the set of preferences which is provided by the users. We want to filter from the whole string. So we have to finalize this set of string. Now, how can we do that? We have to first create a bit array B of n bits. So basically, a bit array is having the size from 0 to n. Initially, we'll fill all the values inside the bit array as 0. Then we take a hash function as with the range 0 to n. So basically, what we are trying to do here, we are taking a single hash function here. Its range can be from the 0 to n. So it can be output of the function. So suppose we are having a string s1, and when we are applying the hash function of that s1, it can give us the any value between 0 to n. And when we apply the same hash function on the string s2, where s1 is not equal to s2, then the same hash function will provide the output, which can be differ from the previous output. So, but only one constraint is there, that whatever the values will be output of the hash function, that should be inside the 0 to n. So we have already discussed in the previous session how this hash function will work. Now we have to take as each member of S, where S small s belong to capital S. So as you know that earlier we have defined a set of key S, that is a number of keys, number of set of keys word which is provided by the users or which is defined by the data list team, so that based on that certain set of words we can filter out the required information from the whole stream. So all member of S, suppose we have taken a certain set of keyword which include the some string like S1, S2, and SM up to the SM. So here S will represent the string S1, S will represent the string S1, S2 up to the SM. And we have to take output of hash of all these as members of S and whatever the output. So you can see that in the previous step when we applied the hash function, we have discussed that whatever the output of hash function on any given input, that should be inside the between the 0 to n. So now when we apply the hash on each member of S, the output will be between the 0 to n. Now, we have to apply this value to one of n bucket. So earlier in this step, where we have created a bit array, we have designed a bit array of size n bit. Initially, we'll fill all the zeros. Now, what will you do? We'll take the value of hash of s, single member of hash of s, and we'll take that value as a bucket. So bucket means here we take the location of bit array. Suppose output of here s1 hash of s1 is 6. So we go to the sixth location in the bit array b, and we'll change the 0 to 1. So it sentence says that we have to set that bit to 1. Now, what will happen? B of h of s will be inside the range of 0 to n. So when we apply the hash function on s, it can be from any value between the 0 to n. Suppose let us it is a 6. So b of 6 equal to 1. So in a bit array, the sixth location will be set as a 1. Earlier it was set as a 0. Now we'll apply this hash function on each member of S. So we'll basically loop through the S set of keys of S, and we'll find out the each output of the hash function, and then we'll fill the all the location of bit array to the one based on the output value. In the next step, we have to take hash each element of a stream. So now we have a stream. So stream is basically generated from your news website. So you have to take each and every string from the stream and apply the hash function on those streams. Same hash function we have defined here. Now, when we apply the hash function, we will get the output between 0 to 1. So suppose if there is a and number of suppose we have taken a sample, so we are not going to take the whole stream at a one time, because that will not be feasible to perform the operation due to the memory and processing constraint. So we'll take a sample of from the stream. Now this sample will contain suppose this sample is contain n elements. Now we'll apply the hash function of each n elements. Now every output will be inside between the 0 to n. Now whatever the output, so we have an output here. All the values will be between the 0 to n, and we have take those output and hash to bit that was set to 1. So we again what we are trying to do, we are trying to check that whatever the output of this stream after applying the hash on each element, suppose it has the n element and this is our first element. So b of first element, suppose apply after applying the hash, it is coming the value of 5. So we'll take check that b of 5 equal to 1, or it means that we are trying to match whether earlier b of 5 is filled by the set of key as s has a value or not. If it is the same filled by the s, then we'll take that value as a match. Otherwise, we'll take as a no match of it. So in this way, we can get a better and efficient system to find out the value. Now, we can go to this picture. So here you can see that we are taking the item. We are item can be your input here, and we are applying the hash. So after applying the hash, third location, 4, 5, 6, 7 location, and these locations are marked as a one, because these values, these will be the output of this hash after applying the hash on this input, and we have marked this value as a 1. Now we'll check for each and every input that whether it is the matches to this bit array or not. If it is not matches to these values, then will we discard that value. If it does matches to this value, we'll filter out this value as a desired value. Now this approach create a false positive but no false negative. What the false positive means is here that suppose we have taken a set of key S. Let us go back to the algorithm. We have taken a set of key S and we have applied the hash function of each member of S. So we are suppose we are getting the value 5, 6, 7, 8. So it is also possible that there will be a different set of key S which after applying the hash function will have the same value 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a rare, it's not possible in every scenario, but it will be possibility. There will be possibility that there should be a set of key S that after applying the hash function will have a same value, which is equivalent to the applying the hash function on the set of key S. So that value can be 5, 6, 7, 8. Now come back to that. So suppose we have take this is representing our set of key S, and there are certain input which is not similar to this, means S is not similar to the sample which is taken from the stream, but their hash will is representing to the same. So what happened here, we are getting a positive output. We are filtering some content which is matched to that, but that content is classified as a false positive because that is a positive set. Positive filtering, that is a required content, but that is a false positive. uh, what it represent in a news website scenario, suppose you have subscribed a news website and you have defined certain preferences, a set of keywords like politics, cricket, and so on. So it may be possible that on a given time you will get a news which is not related to the politics in cricket, but based on the filtering stream. So that is a false positive. Means it is possible that you will get your desired output, and as well as you will get the output which is not related to your desired output. But uh, again, this sentence says that create a false positive but no false negative. Now understand what is a no false negative. No false negative means, suppose you have subscribed for the cricket and you have no subscription for the movies, info movies news, so you are not going to get any news related to movies on your recommended page. So that is a false negative. It means that it may be possible that whatever your subscription is there, you will get all those items related to that. Means suppose there is a news which is related to the cricket, there is a news which is related to the politics, you will get all the news. There should not be there should not be any uh, there should not be any left information or article which is being filtered by the filter, so that all the information, all the news which is generated from the news website and which is related to the politics and cricket will be delivered to you. So there should not be any false negative. Means if the news is related to the cricket and politics and that is your set of keywords, then you are going to definitely going to get that particular news. Okay, so there should not be any false negative news. So if you go to this sentence, if the item is in S is a set of key S, we surely output it. If not, we may still output. So it says, so it's not a completely foolproof system where you will filter out the content which is defined by the set of key S. But why is it important then? Because when we are dealing with the filtering stream, you can assume that we have to process a lot of information at a one time. So filtering should be fast enough. It should have a less time to compute the content and so on. So that's why this approach is being applied by the various real-time system. And basically, it is giving us a very good accuracy rate for providing the content. So these contents is taken from the this PPT. You can also refer this PPT for further information. Now, this is an example I have led for the discussion in the last time. Now, let us discuss this one. If here we are taking a set of keyword as of 1 billion email addresses. So these are a set of keywords where we are trying to filter out these keyword, these addresses from the email. So suppose this is a spam email addresses, or suppose this is a desired email addresses. So it can be anything, spam, or it can be a desired email addresses. So this is our set of keyword that is a capital S, and our bit array is defined as a 8 billion bit. So we have a 8 billion location as a bit array to fill out the information. So we'll fill 8 billion bit as a zero. Then we'll take a hash function and applying on these email addresses. And whatever the output, if that output will be between the 0 to n, then we'll put location which is represented by the output in the bit array, and we'll put those value from 0 to 1. We'll change that value from 0 to 1. So let us go through this statement. If the email address is in S, it means if your email address is in 1 billion email addresses, which is defined as a S, then it surely passes to a bucket that has a big set to 1, so it always gets through. So means if your email address is inside these email addresses, so definitely it is going to be filtered from the stream. So there should be no false negative. Means if you have let us go with the previous example of news website. So suppose these are the preferences, 1 billion preferences for your news website. So if your email is your news web stream is containing information regarding these set of keywords, then it will definitely going to be filtered out and will be delivered to you. So there will be no false negative. And for email system, so suppose you have defined some email system as a filter, a spam. So whenever you are getting an email which is represented by this set of keywords or this set of email addresses, then that filter out as a spam, and you are not going to get that email. That will be delivered to your spam filter, and that is a no false negative. Means if your certain keywords are reside in your set of keywords key s, then they are certainly be filtered out. So approximately one eighth of the bits are set to one. So about one third of the address is not in as get through the output false positive. So it is saying that you have to taken a 1 billion of email addresses, and you are taking a 8 billion of bits. So when we are filling the whole bit array, you will find out that approximately 1/8 portion of the bits are set to 1, and so about 1/8 of this is not in the s gets to the output. So when you are finalizing those email as a bit array, you will find out that 1/8 of the addresses not in S get to the output. So this will be generated as a false positive. So actually less than one of them, because more than one address might has to the same bit. So it is this sentence is representing the previous discussion. We have done that. Maybe you are getting an email as a spam email. Sometimes it is also possible that certain spam email will be delivered to you, but it will not happen that if you have defined a set of keyword as a spam, and then you will get that particular email. No. So let us go through the algorithm of Bloom filter. So guys, clear till now? Any doubt? Any question? Am I audible to everyone? Okay. Any doubt? Okay. So I have taken this algorithm from this Bloom.pdf. You can refer the whole article from there. I have taken some partial content from there. So a Bloom filter for a set X. X is here represented by X1, X2, Xn. And this set of X will represent initialized by setting the bit BHJXI. So we'll discuss that. Basically, is this set X is representing the set of key S. So earlier we have defined a set of key S as our desired content. So this will define as a set of x, which is representing x1, x2, xn. So these are the different properties of the content. Suppose these are the email addresses 1, 2, and up to n. So is initialized by setting the bit b xj xi. So you can see here that we are taking the xi where I is representing 1 to n, and we are taking h of j, which is representing the hash function. We are taking the j. So maybe j means it is a variable value. So j can take any value from 0 to j. So you can find out that we are not taking a single hash function, we are taking a multiple hash function, and we are taking the values of it. So what is it is representing here? Suppose your xi is an email address 1, Now you have to apply various hash function on that particular email address. Suppose for h1 xi you are getting a value 5. For h2 xi you are getting a value 8. For h3 xi you are getting a value 2, and so on. So you have to find out the each and every possible values represented by the different hash function. And if you are getting those value, like you are getting the value 2, 5, 7, 8, now you will take the bit array, and you will take the value from bit array 2, 5, 7, 8, and on those location you will change the bit 0 to 1, or you will set the bit to 1, and you will perform this operation for all indices of I and j. So if you go to the algorithm, it will start from, we are taking the variable x from 0 to m minus 1, and we are profiling the p of h 0. So we are, what we are trying to do here, we are initializing the bit array, and we are assigning each and every value inside the bit array to 0. And what is the length of the bit array is here? 0 to m. Now, we are taking another variable I, and which is taking 1 to n, and we are applying a nested for loop here. And we are, what we are trying to do, we are trying to do this statement. We are applying xi for every variable of x from 1 to n, and xj for every variable from 0 to, for every hash function from 0 to j, and we are applying all those value. And if those value, whatever the value is there, we are setting that value to 1. So maybe possible that one of the value which is already being set by this statement as a 1, so that is again a rewrite to the 1. So if there is any left value of the 0 on this location, that will be set to 1, and after that we'll return the b. So we are, what we're trying to do here, we are returning the bit array. Now go to the next. Now I will go to find out that how to filter out the stream. So earlier we had discussed about the Bloom filter, that how can we create a Bloom filter. Now we apply the Bloom filter on the real-time data stream. So for a given a new item y, so y can be any partial sample or partial tuple from the your data stream. So earlier we have discussed about the tuple. So tuple can be any values which contain the multiple data types information. It can be user information, query, or time. So I will apply the Bloom filter where y belongs to x. X can be your data stream here, and we'll apply the same function here. So you can same step of algorithm as we have earlier discussed. So for j, we have defined a variable j. I will perform the j from 1 to k, and we'll check that if b of fjy, where y is a new item which is extracted from the stream, and we check that on a location or output of hj of y, which is treated as a bit array location. If on this location we are having a value equal to 0, so we'll check that condition. We are not going to update any value, we just check the condition. If there is 0, we'll return the false, means that content is not filtered by your Bloom filter. So if there is a no mismatch, it means you can it reverse it. So you will find out that if sjy particular location will be set as a 1, it means whatever the new item y is in new item y, which is represented by this set of x. So if that condition is set to 1, then your new item y will be represented by x1, x2, f, and so on, xn. So by this writing this algorithm, we can filter out the whole stream. So this is called a Bloom filter. So one nice feature of Bloom filter is that various hash function actually can be related in parallel on a multi-core architecture, multi-core machine. So you can apply this Bloom filter in a distributed environment where you will filter out the multiple stream at a once. Okay, this is a algorithm written step by step. So we are not going to explain this algorithm. Please go through this step by step. If you have any doubt, then we'll discuss that. And this content is taken from this source of information. I can also refer this in source for further information. Okay, so we have declared asset B. We have K independent hash function H1 to H3. We have this initializer set B bit array, and we'll perform the operation of hashing and so on. Then we are setting the location of bit array. And when on a runtime, we'll apply on each stream element, which is as provided as an input. We'll apply the hash function. We'll take the bit location. If it is matches, then we'll declare a filter match. Otherwise, we'll discard the element tags. So it's a quite simple one. So finalization for Bloom filter. So Bloom filter guarantees no false negative and use limited memory. So that is the advantage of Bloom filter. So when we apply a Bloom filter, it will provide no false negative, and it can perform the whole operation with a limited memory. And that was the constraint when we are discussing about the filtering the data stream. It is a great for pre-processing before more expensive checks. So you can use the Bloom filter for pre-processing your data stream, so that if you'll apply a more data analytics approaches on your stream, so you should reduce the computation time. You should reduce the uh, un, unavoided content that should not be analyzed. Suitable for hardware implementation, hash function computation can be parallelized. So these are the few points which is related by the Bloom filters. Now, let us go to the next topic, counting distinct elements. So before going to that, please go through these problems and provide one or two line solution. How can you do that? How can you tackle these problems? You can unmute, and you can also use the chat box. I'm expecting at least 4 to 5 response from your side. So, for example, first count the different words are in web pages from a website. Okay, if you are not going to not able to think about the solution, can you provide the scenario where we will tackle this type of problem, or we can face this type of problem? At least one or two response, please. At least one or two response. You can use the chat box. Why should we require to count the different words from a web pages? Why should we require the counting the different words? Am I audible to everyone? PDF is visible. Abhishek Bhatti.
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, Aditya. Aditya. Okay, Abhishek Bhatti. Am I audible better? Okay, so I will leave this problem to you. Please provide you. We can do some discussion on these problems, and then we go for the counting the distinct element. So there is a one more algorithm. We'll discuss why is it important to counting the distinct element. But before that, I have taken this problem as a reference because before going to the content of distinct element, we must be aware what is the use of uh, learning this distinct element problem. So I have find this problem which is related to counting the distinct word problem. So guys, please have this problem, and we can take a time 2 to 3 minutes and discuss this problem. Okay, thank you for joining the session. I'm stopping the recording mode, and we'll continue with the discussion and question and discussion round for another 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, any questions or any doubt from any student?